Welcome back to the Selling with Lori show. I'm your host, Lori McShane, a licensed realtor in California. And today, we're talking about something that affects almost every homeowner, equity. From reverse mortgages to home equity lines of credit, we're breaking it down with mortgage expert Michael Harris. We'll also highlight the incredible work of Parisa KJ, a local entrepreneur whose handmade handbags are taking the fashion world by storm. Get ready for another impactful episode. The Pasadena housing market remains competitive, with homes selling near or above asking price when priced and presented correctly. Limited inventory and strong demand keep competition high, while fluctuating mortgage rates impact the affordability. Experts predict potential easing in the coming months, which could improve buyer purchasing power. And sellers continue to see strong offers, but strategic pricing and understanding buyer affordability are key to maximizing returns. And if you're not looking to sell, leveraging home equity through refinancing, home equity line of credit, or reverse mortgages can offer financial flexibility, whether to lower payments, access cash, or supplement retirement income. Now, let's dive deeper with our mortgage expert. Meet Michael Harris, your radio program host with more than 37 years of lending experience. Michael is the president and CEO of United Mortgage Corporation of America, a direct lending mortgage banking company operating in California, Colorado, Montana, Texas, and Washington. So, Michael, thank you so much for being here. Homeowners, they are hearing a lot about reverse mortgages, reverse seconds, home equity lines of credit, and second loans, but there is often some confusion, I would imagine. Can you break down what these options are and who they are best suited for?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the program.
Yes.
Every time you turn on a television or a radio, you hear these advertisements. You see famous movie stars of the day and old advertising reverse mortgages, and you just don't know what it is really all about. There are reverse mortgages now that you could be 62 years of age. There's ones that are 55 years of age. In Texas, you have to be 60 years of age. So they do vary. So the guidelines are important. But a lot of what people struggle is what loan and why? And what are the guidelines and how do I achieve and why a reverse and not a home equity line of credit? Is a line of credit different from a loan? And that's what we do as a mortgage banker or mortgage broker. And usually some of these questions and understanding why and the difference is, it's what their usage and what they're planning on doing with the money. Is it something where they're having budgeting issues monthly? Where a reverse mortgage, they don't have to have a mortgage payment. It's an optional payment. So all of a sudden that cash flow comes back to them monthly. So they have more money left over at the end of every month. Where if you have a home equity line of credit, you have a monthly payment. You pay an interest-only payment. But that interest-only payment can also go away in a certain period of time. So then you have to start paying it back. So it depends upon where they are in their lives and what they're looking to achieve. Some people are consolidating debt. Some people are building an ADU. I know in one of your past programs you discussed ADUs.
Yes.
And it's a question if they're adding income or they're trying to go the other direction.
When you're meaning adding income, you mean like buying investment properties?
That could be one of them.
That could be one of those.
Because if you buy additional doors and have additional rent, as an example, I had an older couple. They were living in a home, had tremendous equity, but they were looking to turn the corner. So they used a reverse mortgage as a purchase loan, which you can do. And they were able to purchase units. And now they live in one unit, rent out the other 2 units. They not only got rid of their mortgage payment, they don't have a mortgage payment and they collect 2 additional rents.
Wow. What happens with the previous mortgage payment? Does it just go away?
No, well, the whole definition, when you hear reverse mortgage, you have a mortgage, which is a forward mortgage. Then you have a reverse mortgage, which is opposite, where when you have a home loan, a mortgage, you pay down principal and interest. A lot more interest early in the earlier years than you would think, and we can discuss that another time. But when you have a reverse mortgage and you don't make the payment, it does get added back in. The interest goes back into the balance. So your balance is not going down, it goes higher. But your home is appreciating, generally looking to cancel each other out somewhere in time. So you're actually keeping that monthly money for your own purposes rather than putting it into the backyard of your home. So something I like to say is, if you've worked hard for your home, now it's time for your home to work hard for you.
That's great.
And even on the equity lines, it's when people need it, you can't get it. And when you don't need it is when you should set that up. Because you never know when that day is that you need to write that check or have access to your funds. And when you can't afford it or qualify, then all of a sudden it's not available.
And would that also be acceptable in a trust account
Yes.
as well, to pass down to, the next generation of
We,
members?
on a reverse mortgage, it needs to be an owner-occupied loan. So generally speaking, when the person either moves out of the home or no longer is with us, generally there's 6 months, but you can get another 6 months, so it's 12 months after that the home either needs to be refinanced or sold. So there is that aspect that it's a primary property. So that's on a reverse mortgage. And just as it is perhaps on a conventional or a home equity line of credit or HELOC, as the acronym is, you need to make that determination because who qualified for the loan in the first place? Sometimes as long as someone's making the payment, no one's going to say something, but that's not necessarily the proper answer.
I see. And what should homeowners consider before tapping into their home equity? Because that's huge.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, some of these guidelines have gone now, and back in the day, they went up to 100% loan to value or combined loan to value. Now, conservatively, I always like looking maybe 80%. We can go to 85. But the thing is, we don't want to necessarily overindulge, but it depends on what they're looking to do. So if we were able to write a loan at 80% combined loan to value on a home equity line of credit, they have their existing first that makes sense to keep, then they get their home equity line behind it. They can either utilize it up front, tap a portion, or tap it as needed or use it as needed. Now, what in consideration is you still have to qualify. So there's what is called a debt to income ratio. So we still have to understand income and their other debt and make sure it's about 45 to 50% of income. A reverse mortgage is a little bit different. A reverse mortgage is making sure you can afford your taxes and insurance because you don't have a mortgage payment. So the qualification's sometimes easier on a reverse mortgage, but you have to have tremendous equity to gain one because of interest rates higher than they were previously. You may have to be at a 30–40% loan to value, depending upon your age. If you're 60 years of age, you're not 90. If you're 90, you can qualify for more because life expectancy tables. So when we do a reverse mortgage, the first thing I always like to ask for is date of birth, property address to get value, and talking to an expert like yourself to get the value. But also then it's finding out what's owed on the property. So with all those items, then it comes into that actuarial table and figuring out what we could qualify for. So it's not just, oh yeah, we can go to here. No, we have to be able to compute that, and it's just not easy to spit out, so we have to run that. Something that's new that we didn't bring up yet, there's a second mortgage now for reverses, where if you have a first mortgage or traditional loan that you make a payment, you can get a reverse second. And that's an optional payment on the second. And it's a loan though, not a line. So it's a loan that has an optional payment. So now that loan could be got, taken those funds, maybe pay off other debt, use it for additional investment with an optional payment.
That's great.
Yeah, and that reverse...
That gives you a lot of flexibility as a homeowner to really, expand, especially the way right now it is with the economy, a lot of people, are either they're I don't want to say like too old because nobody's like ever like too old, right?
We're all living longer.
But they want to live comfortably
Yeah.
without having to do things that they had to do like in their 20s and 30s
Right.
and stuff like that. So this is a good way to think of other investment properties, other income coming into your pocket that you could expand and go and travel.
Right. I just helped a woman who was 70 years old in the Houston area, and she was able to get a reverse second. And that was a huge difference because the first mortgage, we were tight on equity. A second mortgage allows us an extra 14% equity usage. So there's a lot of solutions. It's just finding out the information.
Yeah, and I always love to ask this question because everything just sounds just wonderful and great, and I could capture anything, and I could do this, this, and that.
Well, I've already lost all my hair, so not true. Go ahead.
Well, what about the pitfalls and the common mistakes that people can make, moving forward in, trying to figure out which, lane is for them in the mortgage world?
Yeah. Well, again, we're talking about the seconds and the equity usage. A lot of times it also makes sense maybe to do a new first mortgage, depending on their current rate of interest and maybe how long they've had it. Because sometimes people are protecting that 3% first mortgage, but then they're needing an equity line or a second mortgage, and sometimes that amount they need is higher than what they owe on their first. So it's like you're protecting something smaller than what they're getting. So sometimes those decisions become tough ones where people are going, no, I want to keep my 3%. Well, they have $100,000 on their first and they're getting a $200,000 second. So your average rate, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And depending on market and interest rates, it can make sense to redo the loan. Interest rates could vary on a first mortgage, let's say between 6 and 7%, depending upon as our time is. But an equity line right now, you have the prime rate sitting about 7.5%. So if you're sitting in those ranges and you're a prime plus, different things make sense because if it's an interest-only payment, that equity line could be more affordable for them than a fully amortized mortgage. And again, it's a lot of ideas there I just threw, and it is more confusing, but that's where you get experts on your team. And something that I've talked about and what I do, we're part of their offensive line. You need the row of experts protecting the quarterback. The quarterback is our consumer, but we'd have to have them not scrambling. So one person lets down the offense and the defense comes in, that person's scrambling. So whether it's real estate, whether it's financing, insurance, CPA, all those experts are looking out for that consumer. And that's where we navigate, but we have to ask those questions to find out what's going on with, as I say, your real estate life.
Yeah, that's very important because a mortgage is unique and different to everybody in their situation and what
line them all up, different answers.
Yeah, exactly. What are their goals and what is what is their basically what are their goals and what they want.
Just when they thought the kids moved out, they're moving back in. And then all of a sudden that changes.
Yeah. For viewers that are considering these options, what's the first step that they should take?
Well, I think it's actually making a phone call, whether it's myself or other people in the industry, but it's getting those answers. I think it's, if you're looking at a reverse mortgage, if you're 55 years of age, it's finding out what your equity position is. So it's talking to a qualified realtor in their market, understanding what the comps are and knowing what those numbers are in order to find out what equity position you're at. And finding out if a reverse mortgage is even possible based on date of birth, as I mentioned, the property address, and the amount that's owed. And if it's not, maybe it's the second mortgage on the reverse, which gives an extra 14% kick on it. And if not, then it's looking at that line of credit. And then looking at the cost basis. We only went to what program. Now it's like, well, what do I do? How much do I spend? Do I buy it down? Do I don't? All those decisions are part, but it's getting to each part of those items. And if you turn to the equity line or loan, now you have to find out what's your income qualification. What's your W-2, 1099? Are you self-employed? Do you write off? Do you need a bank statement? Do you need cash flow? All these things then come into play, but it's knowing each part of those stories and not jumping to further chapters. It's starting at the very beginning. And as we always hear, a very good place to start.
Yeah, definitely is also to get the education that you need so you can move forward making these decisions, because this is going to not only affect you, but it's going to affect, maybe the next generation coming up as well.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that that you want to share with anybody?
Well, the thing
Especially like in California,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
in Pasadena area.
Yeah. Well, the thing about a reverse mortgage is interesting because in California, you have to have counseling prior to getting a reverse mortgage, also a reverse second. And it's 7 days after the counseling is done that a reverse mortgage can begin. So there's that timeline. What happens is during that time, we find that sometimes the heirs, the children, the adult children, are arguing, why should mom or dad or both do this loan? You're spending my inheritance. And it's a very tough topic. It's almost that you have estate planning instead of after, you have it before. And people start arguing before that pine line. And sometimes as a lender, you end up somewhere in between. And it's if someone was stepping up and taking care of their parents or whatnot, based on the circumstance, okay. But they're trying to do what they've done. And they're worrying about their monthlies, and they shouldn't be starving themselves because no one else is taking care of them. So it is their decision. And a lot of times it's a very difficult concept and talk point to have. So I always like setting the table with my client and finding out where things are so I know what perhaps is on the other side of the page.
Yeah. You also have a radio
Yes.
show, Your Real Estate Life. I've listened, and also I've been a guest on a few episodes, which, by the way, I absolutely love. And you provide so much value and knowledge.
Thank you. You still need those experts. And something I like to say is you think hiring an expert's expensive, try hiring an amateur. And that's really going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for having me today.
Of course. Thank you. Parisa, welcome to the Selling with Lori show. Your handbags are absolutely stunning. And what I love is that they're handmade right here in LA. What inspired you to start creating these beautiful designs?
Hi, Lori. Thank you so
Hi.
much for having me. Yeah, sure. It all began back in Iran when I visited a show that one of my cousins had. She was featuring the leather handbags that she made. She's one of these creative persons who does things for fun. So once she did the leather handbags, and I just fell in love with her creations, and I told myself, this is what I love to do. I used to make clothing for my clients, design and the whole process. And although I enjoyed it and I gained a lot of experience in sewing and pattern making, but I always wanted to create something that it's my own design and whatever I really like and desire. And when I saw the bags, hair bags, I said, okay, this is what I want to do. And when I came here to the States, I took also some classes here to see how they do it here, the pattern making and the process that they do. And then I started working with leather. Yeah, it was as a hobby first, about 11, 12 years ago. And it's about 2 years that it's my full-time job.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, like, what is the process of you designing it and creating them? Like, for instance, this bag right there. Like, can you explain? I mean, this is just unique and fabulous. What is the name of that bag?
This is just a bucket bag, and yeah, I like the unique designs and shapes that you don't see in the market. Because you know, there in the market you don't see very variety because people think of production and they want to keep everything just minimal. My designs are also minimal, but I try to use unique shapes and colors.
Okay.
And yeah, for example, I mean, I can just explain a little bit about this bucket bag.
Oh, please
yeah.
do. It's one of my favorites.
Thank you. Yeah, this is, the leather is Italian, it's lambskin, and the leather comes this way, it's embossed. and it's very lightweight. And I personally like these details on this bag, and it's one of my favorites. And I lined all of the bags with natural suede, so it's nice material inside and out. I like the inside of the bags just look as beautiful as the outside, because the inside of the bag is what you see, and it should inspire you.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love the craftsmanship of your bags. Obviously, they are incredible. Can you walk us through the process of designing them and creating them? What's your inspiration in order to do these bags? What like this collection is that leather, or what was that, suede?
This is suede.
Suede?
Yes, natural
Okay.
suede. Yes. Yeah. I like the shape and the simplicity of this, and the strap. I want it to be a little longer, so they can make a knot and wear it this way, or over the shoulder, or crossbody. Yes.
And
yes.
what about this clutch?
Oh, yeah, of course. This is called arc clutch. The name, because this is like the shape of the arc. That's why I called it arc clutch. And it also has a shoulder strap. You can use the strap during the day when you're doing your errands, and just lose the strap for a fancier look for a date night. Yeah, this is also natural suede. It also has a suede lining.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another bag that caught my eye is that one that's hanging up back there. It's almost like a half moon shape.
Yeah, exactly. This is called moon fanny pack.
Oh,
Yeah,
there it is.
exactly, yes.
That's what your shapes are about, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the newest styles that I have. You can use it either as a crossbody or fanny pack. It has a cell phone pocket in the back, and it has a cell phone pocket and zipper inside as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And to give our viewers a closer look at your work and the artistry behind it, here's a segment featuring your creations with footage provided by Everything Pasadena.
interested about, that I'm very happy about, is the Pasadena Showcase House. You know, they always invite some vendors during the time that the showcase house is open, so people can come and visit the shops and do some shopping. So I'll be there this year.
Oh,
I'm
that's so
very
wonderful.
excited.
That Pasadena Showcase is huge.
Yes, it is.
Ah,
Yes.
I'm so
yeah.
excited for you.
Thank you very much. I'm excited too. Yeah.
Thank you for being here and sharing your wonderful bucket bags, to the clutch, to the moon bag. I love them all.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate your time being here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori.
A huge thank you to Michael Harris and Parisa KJ for joining us today. Remember, if you're curious about equity options or love beautiful handmade fashion bags, then these are the experts to reach out to. Visit sellingwithlori.com/show to submit topics you would like us to cover in future episodes. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.